Hi, I'm Doug DePice. I'm here to introduce to you the second art lesson um, titled Trees. We started with the first, which was making art from scribbles, and I thought doing trees would be an excellent follow-up to the scribble lesson. It would be more sequential, because if you look at trees, I know when I look at trees, they're abstract, they're organic, they're wild, they seem to have a lot of expression. And I've always been influenced by Vincent Van Gogh. And just let me get him up here for a minute. Not only his art, but his writings. And in one of his writings, he had said, "In trees, I see expression and soul." And the idea is that artists are not just drawing a tree because it's there. They're drawing a tree because it's saying something. And that can be accomplished by anyone. You don't have to be an academic artist. Draw a line and you're saying something. A line is expression. It could be a straight line. It could be a crooked line. It could be a thick line. It could be a thin line. It could be wavy. It could be broken. So I have a few things I wanted to show you here, just to give you an overview of some of the things over the years that have inspired me as an artist to do trees. And then I'm going to show you two techniques for creating tree compositions, which I hope you find interesting and you'll want to do. Okay, so I just put this board together of sketches and pastels and watercolor and charcoal. These are all studies of trees at different times. This is just a rough sketch in grays using a pencil. And I like the way trees bend, and I like the awkwardness of things. So when you're doing your scribble assignment, you'll be looking at lines that look like they're looping and lacing and interweaving with one another. Those are great lines. We're going to use those lines. This here, I took a drawing like this, and I just put color on it. And I got some pastel, and I crushed it with a hammer right on top of the watercolor. This little study here is a beautiful watercolor in monochromatic color schemes of blues. That's all. You don't have to be a genius to do this. Do light blue with a dark blue. Okay? This is just a charcoal study here. This was done in Manasquan. Some of you go down the shore. We stayed at a place. I looked out of our bungalow across the street, which was Ocean Avenue, and I saw this beautiful scene with the trees and the garage in the distance, and I thought there was something special about it. And if you just look, it's just lines that start thick and they break out and they get thinner and thinner, almost like your capillary system, your blood system, okay? So take a look at these trees. In art, trees don't have to be the right color or whatever that means. They're not browns, but they can be reds, they could be blues. Van Gogh and Gauguin, they experimented with changing colors of things. This is dry brush technique. Okay, just scrubbing the paper. And I know I'm not giving you demos on how to do this. I'm just showing you some results here. But I wanted to share with you the different approaches. This, I was interested in texture. So I kind of wanted you to feel the bark of the tree. This here, I saw a tree as a kind of like protective image under which a child is lying down reading a book. Okay? And in these here, the top one here is trees as being much stronger, having much more energy and power as form. And in this one, this is a black and white. I was very inspired by the photography of Ansel Adams. And I thought, gee, let me try to create some beautiful images using trees with black and white. So I'm not showing you this as to show off. I'm showing this to you as it's tireless. It's like when you're inspired and when you're interested in something, there's countless ways to work with it. So how are you going to get into that? Okay, so let's take you over here to the light box, and I want to show you how I could have you experience it very, very simply and have a lot of fun doing it. Okay, so this will stay here. We'll go over. You still filming?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to stop.
You want me to
Come on
stop? Okay.
over. Okay.
Okay.
me back. Okay. Okay, honey.
Okay, Pop.
I'm just going to scribble. Okay, guys, so let's pick up from where we left off last week. And what we did last week was we scribbled. And today we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to do something else. I'm going to give you two techniques. We're going to scribble and doodle, and then we're going to use the letter Y. And whichever method you feel is better for you, whichever method you feel gives you an entry into this, you feel most relaxed and comfortable with, that's the one you do. Okay, so as you remember last week, we just went like this. I didn't even have to look at the paper. You just make lines, and I'm just using a piece of pastel. I could have been using a charcoal. As a matter of fact, I could change it up. I could take a piece of charcoal now, and I could go right on top and start just to scribble. Okay, and push it around, making loops, and not thinking of anything, just kind of just doing what a little child would do on a wall, and they have a lot of fun when they're thinking about stuff like that. Now remember, trees are sources of inspiration for poets and painters, and people have written beautiful things besides painted beautiful things. Okay, so we have something like this. Now we're going to go over there. I'm going to show you how we're going to use it on the light box for discovery. Okay. Okay, so this is the light box. We were here last week. Okay, and this is a sketch that I had done. I just want to show you because I had worked out some drawings from this scribble sketch, and I wanted to show you what I found. So in looking at this, I don't know, can you see that? Let me put something behind that so you can... Is that better to see?
Sure.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
All right, so you're looking at that, you're going, I don't know what this guy sees in that, but I don't see trees. Okay, but we're going to find something. So I put it on the light box so that we can see through the paper. Then, I just want to show you what I found. I found this, or, hold on. How's that? That's better. I found this in here. Okay, so let's show you where it is. Okay, so I made little register marks up here. I want to get them for you, show you how this works. Made little register marks. Okay, so the red to the red. Okay, so now, take a look at this. Right under here is that shape. This arm is right there. This branch is right there. And so on. And I found that in there. That's not the only thing I found. So that's number one. Number two is I found this in there. You've seen trees that are cut off. They're like very thick at the bottom, and over years and decades, weather and the elements and storms have broken them up so that they're just what they call truncated. They're broken. Their trunks are thick, but they don't reach out anymore because everything is split. I found that in here. So let me match it up for you. I have my register marks. There. And right there. Okay. So let's just take a look. Look at this shape here. See that shaft almost like parallel lines? Bang. Look at this thick thing. This big form here. Right there. This thing curving up. Right here. And that was not even planned. It was just discovered. Okay, so I'm going to take the paper and show you how I did it. Okay? And then, hopefully, you'll be interested enough to, in your spare time, which this COVID has given us lots of spare time, okay, you'll find something. All right, so I've got a charcoal stick here, Okay, and I've got the light. Now, you don't need to have a light box. I'm just putting another piece of paper on top so that I could show you how I abstract an image from there. Typically, I would work right on the paper I scribbled, so you should do that. But anyway, look, right here. Oh boy, look at that. Just like the tree, broken and split and all kinds of, and I'm finding my lines, my directions. You know the way the grain goes in different ways. So right now, I'm just following that. Well, that's looking, I think, pretty good. Then we have this angular shoot, just like this. Take a look at this. Oh my God, look at this. And we're getting our tree, this big, bold, beautiful, organic image, which survives regardless of the elements. And I'm not going to keep you here long, but I want you to see how that starts to happen. Okay? Now, there's all these other lines here, and they're good because they can give you information for your background. So I could put a background line here so that it looks like it's attached to some type of foreground or earth. Okay? And we can give this color later, which we'll do in a couple of minutes. We're almost done. Okay? And that's that. And let's show you how I'm going to I'll draw out this one for you. So we'll put two images on one piece of paper. Okay. Okay, and this was here. Oh my goodness, take a look at that. And we had a branch coming off here. We had this sweeping thing. I love when the branches do this crazy rhythmic. It's almost like their branches are arms and they're dancing. And you see this coming up. I'm following the lines, the major gestures in the tree. I'm just following the lines up. And this is what Van Gogh, the more awkward and distorted the image looked, the more expressive it was. And that's the key to his art. Okay, the more distorted and awkward it looked, the more expressive. And he said that in his letters to Theo. So you might want to see that as a way of just freeing yourself up and giving yourself some license to create some art. Okay, but do you see what I'm saying here? Look at that. That's a really cool tree. Put a little foreground here, background. Give it a chance. Okay, so that's with scribbling. So let's go back to the table and we'll do the letter Y and show you how that works. And we're almost done. And then you decide what technique is good for you. Okay? You make that decision. Now this tree was done using the letter Y. Okay? Can you see the letter? Just take a look. If you were to just kind of squint your eyes, you see the major rhythm is a trunk, vertical, and then it branches out. These branching out, that's called bifurcation in biology, where the branches move in different directions. Okay, so let's take a look at making the letter Y. Okay, and I think I will use my lead stick. This is another very interesting thing. I think I told you about it last week. Inside your pencil is lead. Well, this is a whole stick of it. Okay, so what if we were to use the letter Y? Well, we know trees are thick at the bottom, so I made it thick. And let's go into the left and to the right direction. Well, that's pretty basic. Anybody can do that. But if you look at the tree, it just keeps breaking and splitting and dividing. And take another one and start to make it, well, that's interesting. That's another Y. The arms don't have to be equal in length. One can come out further than the other because trees are reaching for the light. And sometimes they're blocked in one area and they go into another area. So when you draw, this is going to sound a little funny, but you got to think like a tree. You're looking for the light. You're looking for space. You're looking for some type of opening so that you could breathe, and grow. And that's what trees are doing. And they may have to come all the way over here, like really crazy, and then break out. Well, that's kind of interesting. Anyway, this is the letter Y, and I want you to take a look at some of these. Okay, so there are some trees that I had posted on my computer. I'm going to get them up in a minute for you. And I wanted you to take a look. Okay. All right. All right, I want you to see. This is a tree. Hold on, folks. This is a spectacular image done by Vincent. This happens with me. Okay, so this is just something that happens with me and technology. Okay, so okay. I want you to take a look at that. He said, in trees, I see expression and soul. Look at those trees. They're really saying something. They're strange, they're mysterious, it might be a little scary. They're dark, they're foreboding, but they're powerful. And look at the way they reach out to all the sides and the edges. You could try to do that with your scribbles. Okay, let's go to the next one. What if I was to go forward? Could I go forward here? Oh, I didn't get in there. Oh, I'm out of it already. Hold on. Hold on, folks. Secaucus High School. This is very strange, but I'm faster than the thing. Okay, art classes. Here we are. All right, trees. Okay, there's a few that I wanted to show you that I thought would really open up your imagination. Okay, so first of all, take a look at this. Somebody photographed the branches of a tree by themselves, and they actually look like they're dancing. So there's this beautiful poetry that's going on in the form. Okay? Wanted to show you a few other. Okay, these are trees that were done from, I believe it's Japan, the Edo period in painting. And they're spectacular, they're elegant, they're very, very stylish. Okay? Now, you may like to want to do a tree that is close up and fills the whole frame, and you don't see the whole thing, you just see branches. So give that a try. Don't be afraid if you see that happening in your picture. Beautiful cherry blossoms. You saw that. Okay, these are those beautiful, like, bonsai tree designs where they start growing in one direction, then they shoot over in a totally opposite direction, and there's an elegance about them because they're off balance. There's a beauty about that. So you may find that in your scribble that you may love. Take a look at these. Talk about seeing expression and soul in a tree. Look at these crazy things. And Joyce Kilmer, the poet, had written, I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree. And he goes on to talk about that. And it's a beautiful poem. He's famous for it. And if you're interested, his name is Joyce Kilmer. So these are a variety of different trees that I had selected for you to see because they're strange, they're unusual, they're very imaginative, and nature doesn't do the same thing twice. Okay? The big tree is nature's forest masterpiece, the greatest of living things. That's a great guy. You may want to look up John Muir, M-U-I-R. He's a naturalist, a conservationist, and he lived in the mountains. And nature and wildlife was very dear to him. Okay, so I just want to show you a few more things with the trees of other artists. Okay, this is Mondrian. Now, you may love the simple, and you may want something totally straight and vertical. You can go for that. This is another Mondrian. You could see the letter Y in that tree. This is Mondrian as he saw a tree using complementary colors of oranges and blues. Then he took that tree and he began to expand or elaborate, and he stylized it into an abstract pattern. That's very cool. And some of you may have that need to make something abstract. So I want you to see that, and you may find that in your scribbled lines, okay? And lastly, there's Paul Klee, who does magical things with trees. So you may feel like you want to do something that involves the mind of a child. That's something much more magical and mysterious, and you can play like this, very simple. Okay? And the last one should be the spring tree. This one here. It's beautiful. Look at how beautiful and elegant and delicate that thing is. Okay, so use whatever you want, whatever materials. You have the Y technique, and you've got the scribble technique. You should play with that, explore with it. When it comes to trees, nothing is wrong. It's growing, it's line. Just try to start on the bottom from wide, go to middle, and then go to very narrow. And I hope you have a lot of fun with that. I didn't want to belabor you with a lot of images, but I did want you to experience and see all the different ways that you can go. The artists I showed you are celebrated great 20th century artists, and they're all different techniques. Some of them are more realistic and expressionistic, some of them are more childlike, and it's all good. So I hope you have a good time, and I'll see you in 3 weeks.